What's up, everybody? It's Scotty here with Flat Track Flashback, and today we're going to look ahead to round number 3 of the Progressive American Flat Track season as the series moves across that Florida-Georgia line and right on into Senoia, Georgia, and the Georgia Clay. A little bit bigger track, even though it's still considered a short track. It's a big short track, and we had one of the races of the year last year between Jared Mees and Dallas Daniels. What a battle that was, all race long, exchanging the lead several times. And I think this year we're going to be looking at another exciting round down there in Senoia, Georgia. Just a quick little preview, won't take too much of your time. But a lot of things we wanted to look at and kind of break down some of the contenders as we head into this third round of the championship. Of course, first things first, we got to talk about last year's winner, Jared Mees, and his success on the Georgia Ovals. Now, since he hopped aboard an Indian, listen to this. A win in 2017. He won on the track but was DQ'd in 2018. 2019, second place. 2020, he swept the weekend. All of that happening at Woodstock at Dixie Speedway. And then as the series shifts into Senoia, he picks up the win last year. So Jared, his visits to the Peach State have been, well, they've been pretty peachy with the exception of that one bad bite back in 2018. And Jared has to be the foregone favorite going into this weekend with the amount of success that he's had on those Georgia Ovals. Now, as you notice, I left out 2021 and 2022 with the Atlanta Super TT. I didn't factor that in as that wasn't technically a Georgia Oval, and then no visit for the series the other year. So Jared, a lot of success in that state on the ovals, on that Indian. He's been just a master of these types of surfaces over the past few seasons and really stepped it up every time we go to these types of tracks. He's a threat for sure. But the guy who challenged him pretty close to pulling off what I would have called an upset that night. I think Dallas Daniels is going to be right back in the hunt. He's going to be looking for redemption. You know, he just missed out on going 3 straight to start the year last year. Watching that race, we were standing in turn 1, and I was talking to Cole Davis at that event, and we mentioned Cole had mentioned that was going to be a must-win for Jared, just to shift that momentum and really, let him know, hey, I'm not here to let you just take my throne. And Jared left it all out there and picked up the win that night. Very excited about it once it was done. But Dallas is no stranger to success in the state of Georgia as well. Those races at 2020 in Dixie Speedway, Dallas swept that weekend on his single, and then was every bit up to the challenge to face off with Jared at Senoia last year. So I think Dallas is going to be coming in looking pretty hot. He's tied for the points lead and going to be looking for that redemption. He's going to want to get that win out of the way and keep Mees winless through 3 rounds just to keep that momentum on his side. It should be really exciting to see those two in their rematch at Senoia over the weekend. The next rider I want to look at as being a potential favorite had a really bad get-off at Senoia during practice, but still bounced back for a top 5 finish. And he's the last rider to beat Jared Mees on a Georgia Oval when Jared's been on that Indian, and that's Brandon Robinson. And Brandon runs really well at these clay car tracks, and he had a really strong start to his season. He loves Daytona. I don't know that he loves Senoia as much after having that bad crash, but a solid bounce back. And Brandon, healthy, confident, coming off of a win. Maybe he can carry that momentum and back it up and get back-to-back wins. And if he does, extends that points lead as we head to another car track and then into the West Coast swing after that long break. So Brandon Robinson, somebody who's picked up several wins on half miles, looks really good and strong on that Indian. So I expect to see the 44 to be up in the hunt as well. Some riders who definitely need a good performance. We got to look at Briar Bauman. He's going to want to continue to improve at 8th and 4th in Daytona. Going to want to keep improving on that KTM with the Howerton team. I do believe Briar needs to get a strong result, probably needs to get a podium or even better to really just keep that confidence going and build some steam as we head into this break before we go to Texas, where another track that Jared Mees has proven to be nearly unbeatable at, even though Briar gave him a really strong run when Briar was riding those Indians a few years back. So Brandon Robinson, Dallas Daniels, and then Jared Mees, I would say those are probably your top 3 to watch this weekend as far as your favorites for the win. I'm also very curious to see what Brandon Price is able to do when we head to Senoia. See, Price picked up a win at Woodstock on a single and then picked up 2 top 5s in 2020 when the series had the doubleheader down there. He's back with the series full time, had a pretty strong weekend, looked amazing up until midway through that second main event in Daytona. So I'm curious to see how Brandon Price and the Yamaha performed down there in Senoia. Also, Trevor Bruner and Max Whale. Max Whale dominated that singles class at Senoia last year, and Max moving up, taking the Harley into the twins class. Trevor taking over that KTM. Trevor was 4th last year. at Senoia aboard the single. So those two moving up, I would expect to see good results out of both of them. Trevor's proven to be really, really strong on these car tracks. Max looked amazing there last year on the single. I know they're in a new ball game with the Twins class, but I would expect to see a top 10 out of both of those riders at Senoia over the weekend and continue their strong campaign. Obviously, Bruner, the top rookie in the points, and Max looking to build upon his top 10 the second night at Daytona after not being able to start on that first night, having to miss the LCQ with bike trouble. So Max and Trevor moving up. They'll be fun to watch. Davis Fisher looking to build upon a strong start down there in Daytona and keep that momentum going. Davis has had some strong results on car tracks as well. While he wasn't stellar at Senoia last year, we'll see what the weekend brings as he looks to try to stay in that title hunt through this first stretch of the season. Moving into the singles class, as we just mentioned, Max Whale moving up to the Twins. He was the winner at Senoia last year over a really strong performance from James Ott, Dalton Gauthier, Trevor Bruner, Cody Kopp, and the rest of the field. Followed up that top 5 last year. And with Max and Trevor gone, I think it opens the door for, truthfully, there's probably like 10 riders who could come up and surprise us and possibly take a win down there in Senoia. You look at James Ott, has to be looking forward to getting back there and maybe chasing that first win. Obviously, Dalton, who's picked up a win in Georgia aboard a single before, actually on 2 occasions, he picked up a win in 2017 and 2019 over at Woodstock. Dalton's had some experience at Senoia. He looked pretty good last year, picked up a podium. And Cody Kopp, going to be a force down there as well. Cody runs well on every single track, and he's the point leader coming in. He's going to want to keep that momentum going and keep carrying that on through the season, leading from the front. And I'm sure Cody expected more out of his performance at Senoia last year. Looked strong. Just wasn't quite able to get around Dalton for the podium, and then Trevor was able to get past him in that race as well. So I'm sure Cody's going to be wanting to improve on that 5th place result that he got last year and try to get that second win on the season again. Cody's chasing records this year, so he's going to want to rack up some wins and not let Tom Drain, who dominated the second night in Daytona, you don't want to let Tom get more confident moving forward and crawl back into that points battle, because Tom was so impressive down there. Again, he shut me up on short tracks. I'm not going to question that combination of Tom Drain and the Estenson Yamaha on short tracks anymore. While I might not pick them to win, Tom's going to be a podium threat on all of those tracks. He was so strong down there, and if he gets a good start, he's going to be a problem at every track we go to. And Tom was fast in Senoia last year. He had a rough main event, faded as that went on, but he was in the dash. He was competitive all day long until that main event where he kind of faded and didn't get to be really a factor in that race. But Tom, another rider who's going to be looking for redemption, just as Dallas was in the Twins class. So that Estenson stable as a whole, they got a chip on their shoulder coming into Senoia, and are going to be looking to right some wrongs from last year. And you can't count out Chase Sadoff, who had a top 10 run at Senoia last year. He's going to be looking to rebound after those 2 4th-place finishes in Daytona. He was wanting more out of that after being fast qualifier both nights. So far, nobody has bested Chase Sadoff in qualifying this year, but Chase just needs to put it together in those main events. He's been good on some of these clay tracks in the offseason, had a great run at the RPM race in Louisiana. So we'll see if Chase can maybe get up there in the mix and possibly knock off that first win in Senoia. I expect him to be very, very fast at that track. And then you go back through the field, you've also got Trent Lowe, who was fast in qualifying there last year. Didn't quite get to put it all together in the main event. But those Turner bikes, Trent won on a half mile last year on a clay track. The Turner bikes swept the podium at an event in Devil's Bowl last year in Texas. Again, much bigger track, but still that clay surface. Devil's Bowl, a little bit darker dirt than the Georgia clay. But Trent, like we said, he was fastest in qualifying last year. He's going to be someone to keep an eye on, and his teammate, Evan Renshaw, who didn't seem to love Senoia at the amateur showcase last year. But Evan, the more time he gets on the bike, the more reps, the more comfortable he's going to be. And Evan's a rider that we've seen run well across the country, leading rookie as we enter the night. But he's going to have some new competition in that rookie battle, as Braden Fanders is going to make his debut in Senoia. And Braden has looked strong across the country as well in the amateur ranks. He ran really well there in Senoia last year at the amateur day. He got bested by the Bear, Corey Texter. Corey won't be able to run the amateur day this year, still recovering from injury. So the riders running that day, you're lucky. You're lucky the Bear's not coming out of hibernation. Braden looked really, really impressive at Winter Throwdown this year. He looked so impressive across the nation last year in the amateur ranks, and especially in his district. I would expect Braden to put on a really strong performance and be a factor in his debut. Maybe not a win, but Braden's a sporty and cindy rider, so I definitely expect him to make the main event and be competitive and raise some eyebrows. Other riders that could be very impactful in this race, you can't count out Shayna Texter, Chad Coase. who had good runs there last year in the top 10. Just this track and it's this field, I feel like it's going to be really unpredictable to find somebody to be a favorite in that singles class, especially. And I'm very excited for this race, especially, and looking forward to see how it all plays out. Since my picks were kind of all over the place last week, I brought in a guest decision maker this week. So let's see what Dwayne thinks is going to happen down in Senoia. So, Dwayne, you can go with your Codys and your Toms and your Chases, but I'm gonna take the other. Hold on. Singles class. Come on in here real quick. I can tell you all about being single. Been single for too dang long, and I can't explain it. I dress good, hair great. I don't even drink that much. Yeah. So anyway, singles class. Now listen, you can go with your Codys and your Toms and your Chase and then the mothers, but there's one other option that you could choose, and that's why Dwayne is going to take James Ott to win the singles class down there in Senoia. Twins, people say me and Scotty look like twins, but that boy ugly as sin. I don't want to be roped in with him. Anywho, twins class, Georgia Clay. I'll take Mees, please. Jared Mees gonna get that win down there in the old twins class. Have at it, and that's the Dwayne's decisions. I'm sorry we had to go through that. But we'll see what Dwayne's picks look like and how they match up with the actual results once Senoia wraps up over the weekend. We'll see if Jared Mees can keep that dominance in Georgia going, or maybe Dallas can get some redemption from last year in that amazing race that he had. Or maybe Brandon Robinson can get another Twins win down there in Georgia, go back to back on the season and extend that points lead. Actually, I guess he would technically take over the points lead with a win. And then the singles class, like we said, a lot of competition, kind of just a mix and really unpredictable group of riders there. We don't really know what to expect, but there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of excitement, and hope you guys enjoyed the show. And we'll see how Senoia plays out and get this first little stretch of the season complete. And we'll be back to recap all the results after the weekend. Take care, y'all. What am I supposed to do?